61% of South Africans say they support the postponement of the local government elections scheduled for October. That's according to the University of Johannesburg and the Human Sciences Research Council, its COVID-19 democracy survey. It's as former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke leads an inquiry to assess the impact of the pandemic on elections and whether we can hold elections that are free and fair. So joining us now to discuss the results of the survey is Professor Narnia Bohler-Muller, who is a division executive at the HSRC. Prof, it's great to have you with us on the show this morning. And I wonder how much of your research will reflect what's unfolding in the country at the moment, because that certainly also must have a role to play in the decision around whether we go ahead with local government elections.
Yes, it would. I just want to say that the data that we have at the moment was uploaded and downloaded prior to the strikes and the looting and whatever you want to call it that's going on now. So I don't think the influence is going to be reflected tremendously, but it is ongoing. So we'll see what happens when we get the next batch of responses.
So as it stands, outside of the riots and looting that we've seen in the country for the past 6 days, outside of that, 61% of South Africans say that they do support a postponement of the elections.
Yes, they do. And 52% of those strongly support postponement. And what's interesting is there seems to be broad consensus within South African society, and it's good to know that, considering the situation we're in now, where race, gender, class, political party affiliation don't seem to make much of difference in terms of the issue of postponement. There seems to be a strong feeling amongst South Africans that it's not safe within the context of COVID to continue with the elections.
And aside from COVID-19, I also see that there's a line here, just out of the results of the survey, at least so far, that the basis for, the varying strength of those who support or don't support a postponement also lies in their attitudes and their trust in political parties and the performance of our government.
Yes. So what is interesting is that even though the EFF leadership is strongly calling for a postponement of the election, the ANC and the DA are not. They wish to continue with the elections on the 27th of October, but the voters do not agree with this. So 68% of ANC voters want to see the elections postponed, and more than 60% of the DA voters, or people who say they'll vote for the DA, want the elections postponed. So that's very telling. The political party leadership not really or necessarily affecting or reflecting what their supporters are saying. And also, if people trust the government, or they feel that the president has dealt with the pandemic and the government has dealt with the pandemic well, they are far more likely to support the elections continuing. And that makes sense, I think. But what is interesting is that presidential and government support has fallen drastically. So this is the fourth round of our survey. And the third round was conducted at the end of December, early January of this year. The approval rating for the president stood at 85% at the beginning of January, and has fallen by 20% to 65% now. So I think this may be a result of frustration again, of the fact that we're back in the thick of things, and perhaps people feel that not enough is being done to control the situation.
Yeah. How much of your survey dealt with attitudes towards government's vaccination rollout plan, and how much of that is influencing whether people think the local government election should go ahead?
I think to some extent. I mean, one cannot draw absolute conclusions from this. But those who feel that the rollout is too slow, those who feel that the worst is yet to come, are also obviously very much in favor of the postponement because, quite frankly, being vaccinated makes you much safer, makes you more willing to go to the polls to vote, and you just feel more, you feel safer. So the rollout is very important in terms of what is happening now.
Prof, will these findings influence in any way the inquiry that's being led by the former Deputy Chief Justice into whether it is possible to have free and fair elections in our current context in South Africa? Will this form part, or at least will it be submitted to the inquiry in any way?
Yes, we did submit to the inquiry. Unfortunately, the survey results had to be weighted. It took a while, so we missed the public or oral submissions that were done at the Moseneke inquiry, but they did acknowledge receipt of the results of the survey, and they said that they would be taken into consideration. And we also sent the results to the Independent Electoral Commission. And
you said that you, did I understand correctly in that you said it will be sort of done again to include, you know, the latest issues that we're facing in the country?
Yes, yes. We're currently still live with the survey on the BioNew data-free app. And so I think that we will get some very interesting results. And we're probably going to look at those results on Friday this week or Monday. And as again I said, there will be interesting results here because I think people are feeling even less secure than they have been. And this is just impacting the sense of fear, well-being, stress that South Africans are going through with the kind of violence that we're seeing during a pandemic and the possibility of super spreaders.
Yeah, absolutely. So as it stands, the number of people surveyed, 2/3 of South Africans favor a postponement of the local government elections, and 52% of that number strongly supporting that postponement. Will definitely be interesting to see how those numbers change, taking into consideration what's unfolded in the country over the past week. Prof. Narnia Bohler-Muller, thanks very much for your time this morning, unpacking some of those numbers for us. We appreciate it.